Amazing.
I know I enabled live transcription. I know that sometimes it's a little wonky. So if you all want me to turn that off, let me know, but I can already see it's gonna kind of mess with I'm gonna try not to mumble because then it's gonna mess with what I'm saying. But I love that transcription feature. It's awesome. All right, everybody, let's go ahead and start. Good almost afternoon. Happy Thursday. Thanks for being here. I just want to commend you all for taking the time out of your busy schedules with work and life and school, and to take some time to hopefully plant some seeds of realization, give you some insight about yourself and about the great big wide world of the psychology of money. This is in many ways an introduction session. It's part of a 5-part series that I worked together last year with the Chancellor's Office. And turnout so far for this presentation is better than any of the ones we had before. So I'm so glad that you all are here. I would have loved to have been there with you all in person, and I'm sorry I'm not, but we have the lovely Brooke there with you all. So if you're there in person, Brooke's there to help. If you have any questions, if you need any handouts, if you want to grab a snack, anything at all, she's there for you. I'll be trying to monitor the chat, but I may not always be 100% on top of it. So if you want to directly message Brooke, she might Brooke, would that be okay with you if they direct message you with some sort of request?
I'm launching the Zoom on my own personal computer so I can not be in the way on the big screen.
You're on it. Thank you. And you're definitely not annoying. You're awesome. So let me go ahead and start. So this is the psychology of money. And let me give you a little background of who I am and where I'm coming from. My name is Maria Grando. I work on campus as the Title V grant coordinator. The Title V grant is something that we have for the next 3 years. It's a 5-year multi-million-dollar grant that is touching a lot of areas on campus. One of the main components of the grant is a financial wellness initiative, and to provide education, resources, and guidance for students with respect to money management tips and personal financial wellness. So as I mentioned, this is one workshop of multiple that we have to offer. So I hope that this is something that you find interesting and helpful. And I just want to admit someone. And yeah, so please stay tuned for future offerings of this series. We'll also be working through the basic office, maybe doing some more one-on-one workshops. My educational background is I have a master's of higher education counseling. Oops. Does someone have a question? Okay. I'm just gonna mute you all, okay? Please don't get mad at me. Okay, good old Zoom. So I went to Cal Poly, got my master's higher education counseling and student affairs. My undergrad I completed at Cal State Fullerton down in Southern California, and I got a bachelor's of liberal studies. I thought I wanted to be a 4th grade teacher for a very long time, but clearly I did not go down that path. And I provided my contact information, and I also, I can drop that in the chat for you all before the end of this meeting, and my phone number and my extension. I encourage you all to reach out to me after this presentation if you would like to have a conversation, if you're looking for some mentorship, if I can provide some sort of resources. I want to help. So even if I'm not the person that knows what the answer is, I will help you hopefully find someone that does. And let me go ahead and go to my, okay. So I promise I will do my best not to bore you to death with reading straight off the PowerPoint, but I will have to do that a couple times here and there. So the objectives for this presentation are that hopefully this will help you better understand the relationship between self-worth and personal money matters, to explore your individual money history, to discover the link between money and stress, and to hopefully better understand your own money attitudes, financial stress, and things that could influence financial decision-making. So, I have to click. So what influences our decision-making? Well, many things at one time are probably influencing our decision-making. It can be our mood, how we feel at the time, our family history and how they viewed money and treated money, or maybe the lack of, maybe money was a taboo subject and it was never discussed. Maybe it was an issue that was dripped in uncertainty and concern and fear, or maybe on the other hand, it was money was something that was always around, and so there was no worry about it, there was no second thought about it. Our peers, the social media accounts that we follow, our neighbors, our coworkers, our classmates, everyone around us really, the greater society that we live in or have lived in. We live in an American Western society, but maybe some of us were born in another country. Maybe some of us have family that is from another country. So we could be being influenced by two different societies at one time in many ways. Our attitudes, our temperament, our personality, and our priorities. So what do we think is important? What's on our mind? What are we working towards? What are our goals? Maybe unconscious or conscious, you know, maybe we don't even know what we're actually really striving for yet. We just have a vague idea of success and we're just trying to get there. I definitely can relate to that in many ways. And also our knowledge of how financial systems work. For instance, what's a checking account versus a savings account versus a credit card account. So can we control our attitudes? The answer is yes. It depends, right? But yes, with work. And so before any change can happen, one must first be aware of what needs to be changed, adjusted if need be, in the first place. So let me go ahead and stop my share. And Brooke, if you can please hand out that first handout, and I will pull up mine on the screen here.
We're ahead of the game, you guys.
Hopefully you all can see that.
No, it's not homework. Yeah.
Oh, no homework. There's no homework.
It's for your own benefit.
Yeah, and don't feel like you're gonna have to, you won't have to read out these aloud to anybody. I know we just got started and maybe we're not as comfortable with sharing with one another just quite yet, but maybe by the end of this presentation, we will feel a little more comfortable with talking. Money is a taboo subject, so you're not alone in feeling uncomfortable about talking about your own personal financial beliefs and attitudes and situation. So this actually is kind of like, it's like a self-exercise of automatic thinking. So what I would like you all to do is to just take a few minutes to go through this sheet. Don't think about these too hard because we want to go for the automatic thoughts, like the first thing that comes to mind. And I'm just going to give you a few minutes to go through this. Again, there's no wrong answers. You don't need to share these with the group. Just go ahead and write in the answers or type in the answers depending on your format. And I'll give you all a few minutes to do that. Let me zoom out so you can also see all the questions here. Maybe about one more minute for that. All right, so am I going too fast? Did everyone get to answer these? Can I get some thumbs up and some grunts of approval?
How's everyone feeling with that?
I see
good?
thumbs up.
Cool.
Got some grunts. All right. Let me go ahead and stop share again. Good old Zoom. Okay, so here's the PowerPoint back up again. So let's review responses. Let's think about them and see how they make you feel when you reread them. And I don't know, I've noticed this in my own life. A lot of times if I'm having a conversation and I kind of ask a question off and I kind of just answer the first thing that comes to mind, or I write it down, or it's just kind of like blah, I say it right away. Sometimes when I look back at it, I'm like, ooh, you know what? I actually don't agree with what I said. I actually don't usually feel that way. That's not my opinion. And I think it's important to catch yourself in those times, because that is a moment for growth. And maybe it might be uncomfortable to be like, ooh, like that's not the opinion I want to have about things, or that's not the attitude I want to have going to things. That moment when you catch yourself, although it's an uncomfortable moment of cognitive dissonance, that is where growth occurs. And trust me, it'll happen a few times, and 2 steps forward, 3 steps back. But every time we catch ourselves, that's a moment of growth. And so as you reread your own responses, and you don't have to share with the group for this one, I just want you to kind of do some self-evaluation and ask yourself, do you agree with what you said? Does any of what you wrote make you feel uncomfortable to read about yourself? Or on the other hand, are you like, yeah, that is totally me, and I stand up by what I said for that? And finally, do any of these attitudes affirm or strengthen a potentially negative or positive perception with relation to money and financial wellness? And were any of you surprised by your responses? That's a very good question to ask yourself. And if I'm going to throw one more tough question at you all, would you say that your money attitude might be helping or hindering your financial success? And it's okay, whatever you answered, it's okay. I'm here to let you know that attitudes can be changed. So let's talk about your money history. You just assessed your attitude towards money, which can be a reflection of your money history. Your money history impacts your relationship with money. Everyone's money history is different, even within the same family. So your brothers and your sisters and your cousins, your parents, you could all have different relationships with money, even though you're all influencing one another, and even though you're all in the same family unit or in the same guardian unit. So let me go ahead and bore you to death with death by PowerPoint, reading straight off the PowerPoint. I apologize. But your money history is based on memories you have regarding how your guardians treated money or your family treated money, having money or not having money, talking about money or never talking about money, receiving an allowance on a consistent basis, weekly, monthly, biweekly, or just be expected to do the chores and you don't get compensated anything as a child, as a teen, as a young adult. Earning money by doing chores around the house, or just being expected to do the chores, or not being expected to do anything. Also putting money away in a piggy bank. I don't know if people still do that, or putting it in a some sort of savings account. Maybe your parents set up one for you when you were a kid and it was already there. Just saving for a rainy day, putting that money away somewhere where you won't spend it. And then also receiving gifts and or buying gifts. Maybe we never received gifts as a child. Maybe it was only like for holidays. Maybe our parents were gift givers and we got gifts every weekend and it was awesome. So all of this money history, it includes your families and your guardians, financial circumstances and traditions around money and work. Your money history is shaped by money messages from your friends, community, and society in general. It is part of what shapes your beliefs about money and your relationship about money. And in this country, there is an obsession with money and there's an obsession with wealth and, TikTok and, it's very hard to separate like what is actually like, what is wealth? Is money actually what we need? Is this person, this TikTok influencer and their giant mansion, do we really want that life, or are they just making it look like extra awesome? And so we'll never really know, and it's tough because reality can be skewed very easily, especially with social media. So I'm going to go ahead and throw another handout at y'all. So let me go ahead and stop share one more time. And you know what, I didn't drop the handout. I'm so sorry, I didn't drop the first handout in the chat. So here's our first handout. Oops. Let me just make sure. So for those that, really quick, for those that tune in a little bit after the start, I'm dropping in the PDF of the PowerPoint that I'm going through so you can have a copy of that. And I'm sorry, for those that are on the Zoom chat, you totally missed out on the first handout. That's my bad. So that's the first one for you. And then let me throw in the current handout that we're going to work on together. And Brooke, if you can please just pass that out to everybody. And I will share my screen so you can
Nice
see
job,
what handout I'm talking about. Okay. So again, this is meant to be an automatic thought, you know, just let me go ahead and read the directions for you all. So money mindset is your core belief or feeling about money. It's that recurring soundbite that plays over and over in your head. Sometimes you don't even consciously hear it. Your money mindset is really your money statement and influences how you behave with money. There are many familiar statements about money, many of which you have heard as you were growing up. So as you read each statement below, and again, you won't be expected to share these with the group. So this is just for yourself. As you read a statement below, indicate how close this statement is to your mindset and beliefs about money. So 3 is I almost completely relate to this, and 2 is kinda, and 1 is not at all. So go ahead and go through 1 through 12 here, and I'll give you a couple minutes to do that.
Number 7.
I know that's so. I'm like, yeah, that's funny. I wish it was that easy.
Threw a little joke in there for
little,
us.
little cynicism, you know, that's all right. It's hard not to be cynical with money, at least for me. I'm sure a lot of other people. Maybe about 30 more seconds, unless I'm going too fast. Just let me know, please, Brooke. And so for this last, actually, we'll go through this first, and then we'll do this last little section last. So take some time to answer these questions. Try to go fast, though, what comes to mind first. And let's go ahead and review your responses now, 1 through 12. And I'll just go ahead and read them off. And when I read them off, look at the number you put and see if you still agree with that. Now that you've kind of had a few moments to think about it again and decide if you still agree with what you put. So number 1, money doesn't buy happiness. Number 2, a fool loses his or her or their money quickly. The more money you make, the more money you spend, or the more money that you make, the more they take, right? The best things in life are free. Manage themselves. Never spend your money before you have it. The safest way to double your money is to fold it over and put it in your pocket. Lack of money is no obstacle to me living my life the way I want. Money doesn't make you rich, experience does. Save for a rainy day. Money doesn't grow on trees. I think we've all heard that one at least once. And money buys freedom. So again, review those responses, see if you agree with those, and kind of do a self-check. Like, how does it make me feel if I'm disagreeing fully or agreeing or not sure with one of these statements? What is that statement that you're agreeing with? What kind of tone does that statement have? Is it positive? Is it neutral? And how do you feel uncomfortable? Do you feel secure in your answers? Do you feel pleased with your answers? All these answers are correct. It's what's going on inside. And so there's this last section, and you can kind of just think of the answer, or you can write the answer if you have it in front of you. But what is your money mindset to yourself now that you've done these couple of exercises and you have lived your entire life up until this point? Consider your core beliefs and your feelings about savings, spending, investment, and credit, and write down your own money statement. And when I say money statement, kind of some sort of mantra, like, you know, money doesn't make you rich, experience does. You can use one of those, you can create your own. And I'm gonna stop my share while you do that. And jump back into this share. Okay, so I'm gonna throw a tough question at you all. Is your money mindset helping you achieve personal financial wellness? And that's a loaded question, right? It's hard to just answer that yes or no, because it's probably going to vary throughout the day, throughout your life. And especially as college students, it's going to be a unique situation right now as you're all students. And I know we have some students not on here as well. I acknowledge you all as well. Happy to have you here. So I just want to reiterate that how you feel about yourself will impact how you manage your money. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide here. So I hope we're getting that it's all connected. Oh, your brain is always taking in information, always, and it's potentially always being influenced by outside factors. You may not have control over where your attitudes came from your upbringing, from your family, but you have control over how you react and behave. Well, you can have some control over how you react and behave to your attitudes. So self-worth is a big one, right? Because it's all connected to everything. Self-worth is how you feel and think about yourself. And in many ways, it's how you see yourself in the third person. If you were a third person in yourself, how would you perceive that person? That's very much connected. That is your self-worth in many ways. And your self-worth may influence and affect the way you perceive money and financial wellness. There's a lot of self-statements that come into play with self-worth. For example, let me give you a self-statement. I will never have enough money. That's, what is perpetuating this sort of statement? Is there hope in that statement? Is it futile? It feels a little futile, doesn't it? So reframing is a big one in psychology and in self-statements and even in the money mindsets that we told ourselves earlier, and maybe we weren't stoked on what we said initially. There can be some reframing that is done. So for the statement, I will never have enough money, we could reframe that to say, I am working on myself and my finances, and my current situation is not permanent. Now, you see how that took a little bit of creativity, a little bit of reframing, perhaps a little more effort, but I hope that this is worth it because it's setting you on a different path to kind of, put out this vibe, to take this mental pathway. And you can rewire your brain. You can change the way you think. It takes a long time. It's a lot of practice, and it's a lot of trial and error. So in many ways, this presentation is to encourage you to be kind to yourself, love yourself, accept yourself, and know that you can grow and you can change, and you will, and you can become the person you want to be. You can achieve the goals that you want to achieve. Another self-statement that maybe we could say to ourselves is, my parents never have had enough money, and neither will I. What is it perpetuating? It's pretty futile, is it not? Where's the hope in that? Where's the possibility for change? So we could reframe that same statement and say, my parents' experiences do not define my own. It is my life, and I have the potential to overcome my challenges. Yes, it may take a little extra work. Maybe it's a little more cheesy, so to speak, right? But take that route, and I don't want to throw toxic positivity at you all, because that is a thing, but there's a lot to say about gratitude and positivity, and reframing your own thoughts to work better with your goals, make you feel better, to decrease stress. I mean, to be your own best friend. It's not a bad thing to love yourself, right? This is all connected to it. So let's go to the next slide. And I promise this will not be as painful as it may seem to be. So we have this lovely financial stress poll. And if you want, you can think of the answers in your head and just think yes or no as I read through these. You can number on a page 1 through 8 and check or tally or put yes or no. I encourage you to have a piece of paper and write these down, just so you can see how many yeses and nos you've said, unless you're good at keeping track in your head. So I'm going to go ahead and read these statements, and in your head or on a piece of paper, either write yes or no. On a typical night, I toss and turn, worrying about bills and my paycheck coming up short. Number 2, I sometimes feel as though I'm living paycheck to paycheck. Number 3, I know I should have 6 months of living expenses saved up, but I can't seem to save. Some months I must prioritize which bills to pay on time. I have been late paying my bills more than once in the past year. I use one of my credit cards to make a payment on another credit card. I owe small amounts of money to several family members and friends. And finally, I know I should make my own coffee and tea at home, but I feel like I deserve a treat. And I see a hand up. Christina, did you have a question?
Yes, I do. And also a comment. I can definitely tell you I relate to all of these. I'm not afraid to give my age, 52 years old, and I can't imagine. I'll share something every single day when I'm here, and it's a habit, and it's a bad habit to break, but I go to the cafeteria and I get myself a burrito and a Monster drink. And I walk away, it's about $8.50 every single day. I'm afraid to even try and tally up how much it is, or I may even go twice, and that could possibly go into my son's savings. And I just had this conversation with my 12-year-old son. What kind of a life would you like to have? And he gave me an option. I said, living high on life, you know, not having to worry about money, or just kind of getting by, or living paycheck to paycheck, or, you know, really struggling, just mediocre, just kind of getting by. It's sad to see that, you know, some of our younger generation has that attitude, that mindset. Money is like, it's no big deal. They think that someone's going to take care of them, instead of thinking, I need to plan to take care of me first. And then if they're having a family, and trying to rise above to try and do a little bit better.
Yeah, thank you for sharing and being a little vulnerable and being honest that you think about these things and the morning routine. And I think about the same things. I mean, I've all 8 of these I can agree to, I can say yes to sometimes, and I have in the past year. And I think a lot of us can relate to the, like, after COVID, school, I mean, prices, like, it's insane. It's an insane world that we live in. It's the reality that we all have to deal with is very mentally unhealthy. And I mean, I mean, it's tough. So my heart goes out to everyone, and, you know, and I just hope that, you know, and your son, in many ways, you're planting seeds of realization, right? So sometimes it takes years to, like, get it, you know. For me especially, like, I tuned out of, like, what is a credit card and what is interest for like 10-15 years, and I was like, and of course it came back and bit me, and of course I'm still dealing with it. And you know, I just wasn't ready. My brain was not there. My cognitive skills were not there yet. And that's where some self-forgiveness and self-love comes into play. Like, we're doing our best, and the fact that we're all here and we're taking the time to do this, I think, is proof to ourselves, like, we're doing the best we can, and that is more than enough. So, and I must say, me and Red Bulls have a very tumultuous relationship. I'm addicted to those, and I'm not supposed to have them, but they work. And you actually brought up a really good point, which I actually wanted to get to after going through these questions. I wanted to distinguish the difference between wants and needs. So everyone has wants and needs, right? I want that coffee. I need that coffee. And they will vary from person to person. For example, Starbucks, or getting your nails done, or getting car upgrades. For me, I use my hands to talk. So I need to have my nails looking nice. It affects my self-esteem. It costs money. It takes a lot of time. I have to do it every week. But if I don't have my nails done, it messes with my self-esteem, and it's in the back of my mind. And it makes me happy to I like looking down at my hands and seeing what I like and liking what my nails look like. Now, for someone that maybe is like a DoorDash driver or like an Uber Eats driver, they're all day in their car. And, you know, so for me, like, so I like getting my nails done, but if my stereo isn't the best, oh, whatever, you know, I don't have the best bass system. I don't really care. If my radio isn't working, whatever, I'll just use my iPod or my, you know, my phone. But for someone that maybe their job is that they're always in their car, that music keeps them going through the stress of traffic and going back and forth. And so if their stereo is no good, or if their stereo stops working, that's a need now, because they need that music, and they need that to sound nice while they're working. And that's what makes the day, like, it probably messes maybe a little bit with the self-esteem. Maybe it's stressful. So everyone has their own wants and needs. They will vary from person to person. And there's a lot of, you know, shame that's put upon us for getting Starbucks and for getting that burrito in the morning. But maybe that burrito that sets your day off good. Now you can have a good day. That's what's more important to me, is, like, you know, mental health. because you don't take the money with you when we're done with this life. And you wake up with yourself, you go to sleep with yourself. So I really encourage you all to take care of ourselves and be good to yourself. And that kind of leads to my next my next slide. I know thinking about money and talking about money is not always fun. And I may just made you all think of things that stress you out. And that's why I put this lovely picture of cats. I'm sorry if cats stress you out, in which case, my apologies. But this is just kind of a reminder, like, you're gonna be okay. Anxiety is everywhere. Anxiety actually can be a good thing. It motivates us to get out of that dangerous situation, to study for that test, to force ourselves to wake up early when we don't want to, so we can get somewhere. And I want to reiterate that self-awareness, realize like, oh, I don't like this habit, I don't like my attitude. It's one of the first steps to self-acceptance and growth. And I do want to kind of just give you two quick little meditative exercises, because I deal with stress and anxiety, and especially after COVID, I thought I was stressed and anxious before, but wow, I guess I wasn't. After COVID, there's a whole new level of stress. So I wanted to, let me go ahead and read this slide, and then I'll give you two quick little meditative exercises that have helped me and have helped a lot of people, and are scientifically, there's science to prove that this can help you. So a tough question that you might be thinking is, am I ready and willing? That's a big one. To take control of my personal finances and lower my stress. And creating a plan could ease your stress, because instead of it being this big path, this huge like board game of options that I could take, if you have a starting point, even a starting point that can relieve some stress, and even if you give yourself 2 to 3 goals, even one feasible goal, that can hopefully alleviate some stress. But the body sometimes has a little harder time calming down, and the mind and the body don't get connected. And so there's anxiety, and our breathing is one of the biggest factors to feeling anxious and maybe having a panic attack, or feeling like, tense and upset and heart racing. So really good one is a breathing, it's a breathing in a square exercise. And you can all do it with me right now. I probably could benefit myself. So you breathe in, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out, hold for 4 seconds, breathe, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out, hold for 4 seconds. That is, it's very subtle, it's very quick. Other people won't see you doing it. You can do it when you're about to present in front of a whole group of people. And breathing, like capturing your breathing, slowing down your breathing is one of the easiest, quickest ways for a lot of people. Some people, of course, if you're dealing with generalized anxiety disorder, I would not, of course, other things would benefit that. Another one that I really like that I can do without other people knowing that I'm doing it is a grounding exercise. And this is when you name 4 objects around you. So in your head, maybe your heart's racing because you're raising your hand and you want to answer the question in front of a class. You have social anxiety, like the day's already been stressful. You have a test coming up. We've got all these things coming at us left and right. You just kind of in your head, you point out 4 things to yourself that you can see. You kind of have to play with this. Like, you can keep it simple, like my feet are on the blue tile, my hand is on my red binder, my that poster has, that's a United States of America poster. You can also tune in with your senses. Sometimes that's depending on where you're at. Like, if you don't like like what your senses are experiencing, I wouldn't recommend this. But if you're like in a classroom in a kind of like a benign, safe environment, then you can check in with your senses. Like, I smell my perfume, I see Jerry's not paying attention to class, I smell, I taste my gum. And it tricks your brain into thinking about other things. And so you're actually distracting yourself away from the distraction of stress, if that makes sense. And I do want to also plug this. I had to, right? I'm sorry, I had to. But we do have another workshop that's the basics of financial planning. And I encourage you all, if once that's available, and that will be available, hopefully, if not this semester, definitely for the fall. We'll hopefully use a similar format and have you all give you all good incentives and gift cards. And this will cover basics of financial planning, and again, cover the many influences that we have these days that could affect how we approach planning. So I just wanted to make a plug for that. And let's go ahead and keep going. We're making good time. So we're doing good. Okay, let me just give me a moment to just check in on the chat, make sure I'm not missing anything. Okay, so things to consider. How you view yourself is directly connected to how you manage your money. It's really connected to how you manage everything in life, but we're talking about psychology of money today. Let's not bite off more than we can chew. And your money attitude and your money mindset shape your beliefs about personal finances. And I'm going to go ahead and apologize, read these bullets for you all. So staying in control of your financial obligations can reduce your stress, so it can lower it a little bit. It's not fun to pay the electricity bill, but it's a lot less fun to have to still owe that electricity bill. You know what I mean? Your relationship with money has a direct impact on your relationships with friends, family, and love interests. And I encourage you, have these conversations if you can, if you have these kinds of open relationships with your family or your friends. Ask them, like, what are your perceptions of money? What do you think about what would you say is personal financial wellness? Do you know any of your money attitudes? I'll bet you anything they'll probably won't expect that question because money's such a taboo subject. But explore the people that you're surrounding yourself with. They're influencing you, so it's good to know what's going on in their heads as far as money. And I want to reiterate that it is your life. Like I said, you go to sleep with yourself at night, and the only person that you wake up with in the morning is yourself. At the end of it all, we'll only have ourselves, our body, our minds, our spirit, and it's important for us to take care of those. A lot of people, especially myself, I want to take care of other people, but it's very true that you cannot pour from an empty cup. And in order to love others, you must first love yourself. And I know that sounds cliche, and it does. But it's true in many ways. For many people, everybody's different. That's the beauty of people. So I just want to remind you all that nobody has the right to take away your peace, but you are responsible for working on your own inner peace with the help of other good people, of course. We are social creatures. We're not meant to live alone on an island. I don't know if you ever saw Castaway, but we need each other. We are social beings. That's how we evolved. That's how we survived. And no matter how introverted we are, hopefully there's at least one good person in your life that you can rely on. And if that's not the case, I'll assure you there are many people at this campus that could help you out with that. There are many good people on this campus that want to help you out. And also, I want to remind that you're never done. You're really never done learning. There will always be more bills to pay. There will always be more stress to manage, but there will always be new opportunities to succeed, new people that will help you and provide guidance, and so much more to learn. And I think, and this is my opinion now, that this is one of the beauties of life and learning. Just keep learning and pass on the knowledge to one another. Try not to get bogged down by failures, closed doors, and unexpected changes, because you never know what's right around the corner. And a lot of the times it's something better. I'll tell you, it really is. And I hope that plays out in everybody's life in your own way. So let me go ahead. So let's do a wrap up. Two screens here. So hopefully you now have a better understanding of the relationship between self-worth and personal money matters. Hopefully you are more willing to explore individual money history and maybe the money history of your peers and your family and your guardians and friends. Hopefully you have a better understanding of the link between money and stress. And also, finally, hopefully you have a better understanding of how your own money attitudes, financial stress, and things that could influence your financial decision-making. So with this, I wanted to plug the many amazing campus resources that are here for you. And this is directly off the Allan Hancock websites. I know I put a lot of information here, you all have a copy of the PowerPoint, so I encourage you to refer to this. Even if you just write down for yourself, look into financial aid. Just Google Allan Hancock financial aid and it'll get you where you need, and hopefully connected with the right person. So I'm just going to go through these resources and we're almost done. Yay! So, excuse me, student health services. The student health services on campus, they are incredible people. Alex DeYoung, she is excellent. As students, you pay a student health fee. So you have certain privileges as a student because you've paid that fee that you can take advantage of that might be cheaper than going to a doctor on your insurance, or if you don't have insurance, you're not alone. So I encourage you, I know there are a few exceptions. It says with lab testing, immunizations, and referral service fees, but I know that there's a lot of prescriptions, there's support resources and mental health counseling, you know, anything to do with health, like the whole outlook of health, mental health, physical health. I encourage you to check out the student health services if you're ever in need of, if you're in a mental health crisis, if you're dealing with a personal health emergency, they're good people and they're there to help. Financial aid, there's so much money that is just not claimed by students, by community college students. It's so much money, and there are barriers to getting financial aid, which is a total, and I hate to use it, but the word bummer, it's a total bummer, because there's so many students that started with financial aid, but they were asked all these convoluted, complicated questions about their parents' births, you know, certificates and blah, blah, blah. Especially if you're under 24, there are a lot of hoops that you have to jump through with financial aid. So if you're in that age group, if you're still claimed as a dependent on your parents' taxes, financial aid, it's a little trickier, right? It's a lot easier when you don't have to enter your parents' information. However, there is free money available. There are grants available for students just like you. There are also loans that you can take advantage of. Financial aid is there for you. So again, either Google Allan Hancock financial aid, write down, look into financial aid. There are financial aid counselors that will meet with you one-on-one. They will help you through it. You don't have to do it alone. Those applications are complicated and there's a lot of legalese in them. And that's a whole nother, I won't even open that can of worms, but if it's, you know, federal government likes to use convoluted language. So financial aid is there for you all. There's money to be taken. EOPS is a great one. EOPS is a hub in many ways on campus for additional support for certain student populations. Sometimes there will be qualifiers such as having a certain amount of income on your taxes, or being a single parent, being a veteran. EOPS though, again, Vanessa Dominguez, wonderful people. Their entire job is to help students get more money, get gas cards, get education, get support. So EOPS is where I would recommend a lot of people start. And a lot of times you kind of have to start at EOPS to get signed up with other programs, which I'll cover. I highly recommend you look into EOPS. There also is Cal Soap and Can Trio. So as you can see, they'll kind of qualifiers, and you don't have to worry about figuring out if you qualify. If you go to EOPS, they will help you out. They'll let you know if you qualify for certain things. And like I said, there's resources to be taken, and they're for you. They're for the taking. And it's really it's sad how many of these resources just don't get taken advantage of because students don't know about them. And the EOPS Center is in the building A. It's on the second story right above the counseling building. So it's nice, conveniently packaged. And this is the Santa Maria campus. So it's right up there. I encourage you all to visit. So Cal Soap is for first generation students, low income families. And I do want to mention that if you're from Santa Maria's poverty level is higher than the national average. So, you know, it's good to take advantage of these certain things. There's no shame in taking support. Like, I'll do CalFresh any day. I wish that CalFresh had no financial, like, you can't, if you make too much, you can't get CalFresh, which I wish that everybody just got CalFresh. It's awesome. There's no shame in that game. CARE is for single parents. There's a lot of help for single parents through CARE. They have a center on campus as well. And again, you would go through EOPS. And CalWorks is also, it's like if you're getting one sort of assistance, a lot of times you can also get additional assistance. So CalWorks is really good for getting students into the work field and getting career experience. And you know, there's the career closet, the career center, Thomas Lamica, again, excellent people. And that is my presentation. So I will go ahead and stop my share. And I know we're done a little early, so I wanted to give some time for discussion. If anybody has any questions, if anybody wants me to go over anything, how are we all feeling?
Good. Yeah.
Good.
Any
Good.
thoughts on money or?
Okay. Does anybody have any questions about anything?
I appreciate you sharing and reminding me, no matter what age, that it's nice just to kind of revisit, because I think sometimes we get stuck in a rut, we get comfortable, and as we get older, we just find ways just to kind of MacGyver it, Mickey Mouse it together, put the duct tape and just kind of make things work, because life gets busy with kids and family and everything else. But it's nice to be able to kind of like stop, reset that button, and no matter what age, to kind of restart again. There's a lot of success stories out there that, you know, I'll share. My parents, my dad, he was vice president of a company. We lived abroad and we came back to California. We lived in Australia. We came back. My parents bought a brand new home, 2 brand new cars. Everything was wonderful. And then the president invited them in on this 15th year anniversary. They said, we don't need you anymore. And just like that, gone. And the income was gone, and he was the sole provider. And they didn't tell me until years afterwards that they maxed out all their credit cards. They literally were living, you know, paycheck to paycheck. And then all of a sudden he started making $15 an hour. And you wonder, well, wait a minute, here's a president of the United, or a president of a company. How is that possible? At that age, he didn't know how to resell himself. It really took the wind out beneath his wings, and making $15 an hour. And then later on, he became a consultant and was able to do even better than what he was doing before, until, you know, I don't have my parents anymore. And so they taught me the resilience that staying together and staying cool and just working through it and not getting upset. There always is a way to, you go down, you get back up, you go down, you get back up. There's always ways. And the pride of being able to reach out and ask for help, he had to learn that it was a-okay to do that. And so, and he did.
Yeah, that's my heart goes out to you, that story. My goodness, Christina, thank you for sharing that. And I think that's another testament that, yeah, it's never over. It's never too late. You're never done until you're fully done, until this life is over. And until that point, don't give up on yourselves. And really, it's really incredible. I've heard so many stories like, this is the career that I thought I wanted. It crashed and failed. But I ended up, because it crashed and failed, I'm in another career that I actually enjoy, that is fulfilling, and that pays me the wage that I want. You hear that a lot. I've with so many people, they go through so much school and they get to their, you know, they go through law school and they get behind their desk and they're like, I hate this. And so they go back to school to be an educator, and maybe they make a pay cut, but they're living life. They, you know, so everyone's got their own definition of success. It's on a spectrum. People, you know, failure is a part of success. And I think that, you know, for myself, I used to think that success was a one-way street. I started at A and I end up at B, but really it's like a squiggly line going A, B, Z, Y, X, you know, R, Q. And so there's no one straight path. It's not easy. So this isn't for the weak. And the fact that you're all here, I think proves how strong you are, how capable you are. And I encourage you all to keep learning, and yeah, just be open to change too. Thank you, Christina. Anybody else want to share? Was there anything that maybe opened your eyes a little bit? Something that you were surprised by? Any questions? We're all hungry.
Maria, I wanted to ask a question. You use the term personal financial wellness. What is that, or how would you answer what is your personal financial wellness?
Well, I think that's a very good question. I think it looks, if I can offer my opinion, I would say that it looks different to everybody. And I would even take off financial and just call it personal wellness. I think that there's a lot to go into, you know, feeling comfortable, feeling content, feeling positive, feeling hopeful, like hopefully positive feelings. Hopefully the outside reality is a reality that you enjoy living in. You know, some people will define personal financial wellness as, I don't have any debt and I have a house, right? Some people will define personal financial wellness with, I just took out a loan and I'm going to go to law school and I'm going to have the career that I want, and I'm changing my life scope. Some people will, personal financial wellness will be, I have set off my kids, they all have funds, and you know, now they all have, they're all going to have a college fund by the time they're 18. So that's a a very difficult but easy question to answer. So I really say that it varies from person to person. And I'd say that it's almost directly related to personal wellness. And we could call it personal wellness because you could have financial, you could be, you know, you could have $1 million in the bank, but your mental health is not doing well. And in that case, I wouldn't necessarily say that you have personal financial wellness in that situation, right? So I think financial wellness is kind of like a standalone, but when we throw personal in front of it, there's no one size fits all for that. I hope I answered your question.
No, you definitely did. I get it. I understand now. Yeah, thank you.
And it's a process, you know. I'm still learning every day. I'm learning every single day. And even though I just gave you all this presentation, I don't have it all figured out, and I'm still learning, and I'm reaching out to people that have more expertise than me and that have lived different lives than I have. And I'm always, you know, I'm always trying to crowdsource and learn more from others, even if it's like not what to do, right? Maybe or, you know, you can take that advice and still do the exact thing that you were going to do anyway. I think as long as we keep filling that, you know, keep learning, keep filling our cup, keep working on ourselves, don't give up, right? Don't get complacent with ourselves. Then that, you know, you're doing your best. And I wish that there was more appreciation for doing your best in today's world. And hopefully there is. Who knows?
Yes, well said. Thank you.
Right. So I know that this officially ends at 12:45, but we can go ahead and end now if anybody
Yeah.
wants to stick around.
I did want to share one more thing, Maria.
Okay.
Can you let me share my screen?
Sure. Are you able? Let me see.
If not,
Okay.
this is just one other resource. Thanks for being here, guys. And it is on the Hancock page, which this is gotta go away. No.
I like that image of Bart Simpson. That's awesome. That's what I want to be doing tonight.
Just staring up at the stars. Okay, so on the Hancock page, if you go to your search and just type in Wellness Central, and then we go to our health page, and way down here at the bottom, this is the Wellness Central. Everybody has access to this. So you can click on Hancock and your student, and it'll bring it, this is through Canvas. But down here, they have this wheel of wellness or dimensions of wellness. And each one of these you can click on and it will have extra resources if you're looking for something. And it kind of goes into a lot of the different resources that are available. And it has a lot of good tips and videos and things to read. If anyone wants to dig in a little deeper, that is available to everyone. So yeah, I just wanted to share that in case anyone wants more. But thanks so much for coming, you guys. I really appreciate you all being here. Let's stop share there. And it was fun. I hope you guys had a good time. There is extra snacks, so please grab some snacks on your way out. And then did everybody?
Those snacks are good for you.
What?
Those snacks are good for you.
It's nuts. And there's water. Everybody signed in, yeah? I don't think the employees here are good. Okay. But then, so we'll send this over to the counseling desk, and then you can go and check in and choose which gift card you want. And it's first come, first serve on if you wanted the Chipotle versus the Starbucks versus other third option, which I can't remember. But yeah, so I hope you guys had fun. And then we're doing another wellness champions meeting next month, and that one's going to be about nutrition, and we're going to cook a little meal, learn how to have some good snacks. So if you want to come, I have your email. I can send out an email blast for that. Thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you all. For those that were on the chat on the Zoom, we'll email you about your gift card, and we'll make sure that you get one.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a wonderful weekend, please.
You can't take all of them. You can, I have to,
Thank you.
pick one.
Thank you.
So run over to, you will